Still February 17th, 2023. Not gonna lie to you, it's a struggling day. Well, I never lie to you. People assume I lie because I have the same, let's say, drives or worldviews or motivations in life. Like, let's say, to advance in the monetary paradigm and to be dishonest so as to advance in the monetary paradigm. It's like Monopoly, where lying is a part of the norm of the culture, and people assume I'm like this. They don't know they've just met an Homo sapien. It's funny to see, like, wow, like he's pretending to be a professional, but he probably wants to start like a cannabis shop in that place or something like that. Like people are, oh my God, they're like, oh man, living among the people primates. This library that I'm enjoying now, just because I have access to it, but again, a very shy librarian. Today is, I think, Kind Gesture Day or something like that, and then I mentioned, offering hugs to people, and she's not comfortable with that. But I think to be a librarian, and I didn't need one for me. Like I was still sitting, she was still standing. Like we talked about the comfort zone of people with this, and she says, some guys are creepy. Well, don't offer that choice to them if they seem creepy to you, or if there's a colleague, that they could, if they're not scared of people touching for the sake of a hug, then maybe they can offer that more. But just the shyness, and you can tell the shyness, and I'm not talking about the hugs here. I'm talking about how every library now has loud people in it, and librarians don't do anything about it, even when it's happening right next to them. Even when there's rooms that are available for free for, let's say, people studying together to use, instead of disturbing the entire library, because you need life skills, right, to approach people and say, oh, could I ask you guys? And of course, none of the people that finish high school or taking post-secondary training are taught the Homo sapien skill of whispering or lowering your voice, inside voices. We learned this when we were 4 or 5, but I don't think I've been inside the library anywhere around the world or Canada in the last few years where people understand how to be considerate of others in this way. But when they're right next to somebody, they're really speaking as if this is my car, I'm talking over your car where you're parked 3 spots over. Like it's not, there's something wrong, except this is the norm. And then librarians are just, this is the norm. Plus they'd have to get up and say something assertive. Oh my God, a librarian is not supposed to have to do this. So yeah, so that's a common theme. And I'm not shaking things up, right? So I am acting different right now, is minimizing my, not complaints as much as, hey, does that seem right to you? Or does that seem normal or fair or kind? And then eventually, everybody's closing their doors. They think I'm trying to trick or treat for free stuff all year round. But really, I'm just trying to say, hey, if we're Homo sapiens, have you thought of acting this way instead? And it's not going to work out. I wanted to say something more specific about this. I am grateful for people just allowing me to use internet or things like that. And, there's still Work BC that is laundering money. There is a Work BC where I am here, but I'm not going anywhere near it. There is another place right now that I'm able to do photocopy or printing for free, if it's, not too much of it. And I'm grateful for it. And, if there's a chance, I'll give a donation or give back in some way, offer a service. But when people aren't happy with what I'm saying, it's really that I didn't do anything wrong. It's that I point out what is wrong with the norm, which also is what they just did in the interaction with me. And it is right and wrong, basic kindergarten stuff, right? So right now I'm still the person that observes these, and I'm trying to find ways to not give myself cancer by burying them a little bit, but processing them in different ways than voicing them out in this new community. But it's here. So I'm still being me. But one of the things I would say eventually, like let's say somebody is trying to get me to sign a contract for something very quickly because there's demand for it. Like let's say it's a rental. And I say, well, I'm not sure, if you say it's quiet, you say it's clean. I've seen that it's not clean. I don't want to say that part because right away you lose them. But the quiet part, that takes a few weeks to find out if it really would be. And this is a long weekend, but I don't think it really has an impact on the people that might be drug addicts, that might be my neighbors. But if they want me to sign something that's 6 months, again, it's slavery, but I can't say that to them, right? Because it's the norm. What I could say eventually, if they say, if you don't sign here, you don't get it. And no, it's 6 months. That's the rule. There's plenty of people that would take this. I know. That's why if we do a probation period, because you value my human rights and it doesn't work out after a month, I'll give you notice. And if I don't, I'll sign a paper, I'm giving you this much money if I'm not giving you notice. And then you'll fill it out really quickly but again, their path of least resistance is this slavery part, because they have something you want. And everybody does this, whether they're a rich person or a poor person. They do this. You have something that you want. They have something you want or need, and they will engage in this modern version of a slavery system, which they are not aware of. So what I could do eventually, when I'm more settled, let's say in this community, is when these things happen. Let's say somebody wants to offer me a service where it's definitely not a win-win scenario contract. And this could be the public service, by the way. It could be a Work BC office. And I would say, well, at this point, I'm going to have to ask for your credentials. This seems like a scam. And, this is sounding more and more like a scam. And then what? You contacted me because you want this. This is really like this. And they don't get the part where, then I would say, well, if this is not a scam, and a scam, I could define that, you are the big winner, and I may or may not get what I want, and only time will tell, and it's not really, again, a win-win scenario. That's how I would describe a scam, which is pretty much, like I said before, not just Canadian society or BC society as a majority, but all around the world. And part of it is this nonsense, right? The monetary paradigm nonsense, that even the lowest people that are slaves that don't know it try to enslave more people in this nonsense.